When this man was born, the entire hospital fell into stunned silence. It was a cold, windy night in Brisbane, Australia. Outside, the relentless winter winds rattled the old windows of the Royal Women's Hospital, and inside, a small crowd of family and staff waited nervously for the arrival of Anna Hoge's fifth child. Anna had already given birth to 4 healthy boys, and this night was filled with hope and anticipation. Her husband Michael held her hand firmly, offering silent reassurance. The atmosphere was warm despite the cold outside until the moment their newborn son entered the world. As the doctor lifted the tiny infant into the air, the smiles in the room froze. A hush fell. Nurses exchanged worried glances. The doctor's face lost all color. "What is it? Why isn't he crying?" Anna asked, fear creeping into her voice. Michael stepped forward, peering at his son. His heart dropped. Between the baby's eyes was a large tumor, nearly the size of a fist, distorting the newborn's delicate face. His legs were twisted and malformed, fragile and bent at impossible angles. Michael's breath caught. Anna's voice was trembling. "Let me see him," she demanded. Though her hands shook, the nurse reluctantly turned the baby toward Anna. She gasped sharply, instantly covering her mouth, eyes filling with tears. "Please, just take him away," she whispered, turning her face into the pillow, unable to bear the sight of the child she had just brought into the world. The days that followed were a blur of monitors, doctors' discussions, and whispered conversations behind closed doors. When it was time for Anna to leave the hospital, she made a choice that would haunt her for years. She left without her baby. The decision weighed heavily on her soul. Each step she took away from the hospital, from her son, felt like a wound opening anew. Michael was by her side, silent but supportive. He understood her pain, but also knew the child needed a mother's love to survive. Back at home, Anna's 4 older boys waited eagerly for their new sibling. When Anna arrived without Robert, the joy in the house turned to confusion and concern. She retreated into her room, opening a small blue diary that became her only outlet for the unbearable feelings inside. Why did this happen to us? Why did this happen to him? I wish he had never been born, she wrote, raw and honest. Meanwhile, Robert remained in the hospital, cared for by compassionate nurses who marveled at his strength despite his fragile body. Among them was Eleanor, a soft-spoken, kind-hearted nurse who took special interest in Robert. Every night, Eleanor cradled him, sang lullabies, whispered stories of courage, and made sure the tiny boy felt safe. In her arms, Robert found a fragile sanctuary. Slowly, Anna began visiting the hospital. At first, these visits were brief, filled with fear and distance. She kept her eyes down, afraid to touch him. But each visit chipped away at the wall she'd built around her heart. One day, she reached out her hand. Robert's tiny fingers instinctively wrapped around hers, a silent but powerful bond forming between mother and son. At home, the family struggled with the emotional weight of Robert's condition. Anna's avoidance left a gap that Michael struggled to fill. Tensions rose. Sadness clouded the house. One evening, Michael called a family meeting. "Should Robert come home with us?" he asked simply. The older children did not hesitate. Hands shot up, voices strong with love and certainty. Anna watched, tears streaming, as her children showed her the unconditional love she feared she lacked. That day, Robert came home. Life became a balancing act of hope and hardship. Endless medical appointments, surgeries, and therapies filled their days. Robert endured surgeries to reduce the tumor and reconstruct his leg. The pain was immense, the road long. Yet, through every trial, Robert's spirit never broke. When Robert started school, he faced cruelty and stares from other children. But he refused to be defined by their fear or ignorance. Instead, he developed a sharp wit and infectious humor that won friends and softened hearts. He told stories of his surgeries, teaching classmates about resilience and courage. Anna often read aloud from her diary, her raw, honest words knitting mother and son closer. Robert did not resent her initial rejection. He treasured the truth she shared and the healing journey they had taken together. High school brought new opportunities. Robert excelled academically and discovered a passion for writing and storytelling. His teachers admired his insight and compassion. On graduation day, as valedictorian, Robert delivered a speech that moved everyone to tears. True beauty, he said, is not what you see in the mirror, but the strength you carry inside. Anna watched her son, overwhelmed by pride and remorse. The boy she once could not face was now a shining beacon of hope. After high school, Robert plunged into the world of journalism, driven by a fierce desire to share stories that mattered, stories of hope, struggle, and the human spirit's remarkable resilience. His unique perspective, shaped by a life of overcoming adversity, made his writing deeply authentic and compelling. In university, Robert's dedication was unmatched. Late nights spent crafting articles and essays earned him scholarships and awards. He became known not only for his eloquence, but for his unwavering integrity. Professors marveled at his ability to communicate complex emotions with clarity and power. It was during these years that Robert met Claire, a spirited, compassionate woman who saw beyond his appearance. Their friendship blossomed effortlessly, rooted in mutual respect and shared dreams. Claire admired Robert's courage and humor, his refusal to be defined by society's narrow standards of beauty. Their courtship was filled with simple joys, long walks through the park, late-night conversations about their hopes and fears, and shared laughter that made even the hardest days bearable. When Robert proposed on a quiet beach at sunset, Claire's tearful yes was a promise not just of marriage, but of a life built on acceptance and love. Marriage brought its own challenges and blessings. Robert and Claire welcomed 2 children, Emma and Luke, who became the center of their world. Fatherhood deepened Robert's understanding of unconditional love. Holding Emma for the first time, he whispered softly, "You are perfect," fully aware of the journey his own life had taken to reach this moment. Robert's career soared. He worked for major news outlets, covering stories that others overlooked: the struggles of marginalized communities, the triumphs of those society often ignored. His voice became a beacon for the disabled community, a call for empathy and inclusion. But Robert's greatest impact was through advocacy. Recognizing the power of his story, he traveled the world, speaking at conferences, schools, and hospitals. He shared his journey with brutal honesty, the rejection he faced, the pain of surgeries, the relentless bullying, but also the hope that blossomed from acceptance. His memoir, Ugly, was a bestseller, unapologetically embracing a word society once used to hurt him. Through his writing, Robert redefined what it meant to live with difference and disability. He challenged readers to see beauty in strength, courage, and authenticity. Anna, once reluctant and fearful, stood proudly by her son's side, sharing their story openly. She believed her initial rejection was an important message that shock and fear are natural, but love and acceptance can transform lives. Her courage helped countless other parents navigating similar fears. Throughout his life, Robert's humor remained a defining trait. "Everyone's uglier than they think," he would say with a grin, "and everyone's more beautiful than they realize." His ability to laugh at himself disarmed critics and endeared him to many. Years later, as he stood on a vast stage in Sydney, addressing thousands, Robert reflected on his journey. "We cannot control how others see us," he said, "but we can choose how we see ourselves. My mother taught me that truth through her honesty, struggle, and ultimately her love." The crowd erupted in applause. In the audience, Anna wiped away tears, proud beyond words. The boy she once could not face had become a man who faced the world with courage, inspiring millions. Robert Hoge's story is more than a tale of overcoming physical differences. It's a testament to the transformative power of love, honesty, and resilience. It teaches us that beauty is not skin deep, but rooted in the heart and soul. In a world quick to judge by appearances, Robert's life reminds us all to look deeper, to embrace imperfections, and to find strength in vulnerability. He showed that sometimes the greatest gifts come wrapped in unexpected packages. And so, the ugly baby left in a hospital crib became a symbol of hope, a beacon of courage, and a living proof that love, in its purest form, can change everything.